everybody, my name is Eliza Lauber, and today I'm going to be talking about the Supreme Court case known as Dobbs versus Jacksonville's Health Organization, and everything that I learned in doing research for this project and looking at the case. So I'm sure we've all heard about this case. It's happened about 10 months ago. It is hugely impactful. I'm sure if you've turned on the news at all, you've seen it. Not to mention, we just talked about it in class last week in the chapter about privacy. So as you can see, it's pretty important, pretty big. So yeah, today I'm going to be talking about things that I learned in doing this project. So to start, everything started in 2018 when the state of Mississippi passed the Gestational Age Act. The only abortion provider in the state, Jacksonville's Health Organization, decided to sue and say, hey, this law is unconstitutional. Obviously, it made its way all the way up to the Supreme Court, where in a 6-3 decision, they decided, hey, forget Roe, forget Planned Parenthood v. Casey, let the states decide. And it just took back about half a century's worth of precedent. And so now it is up to the states, which, I mean, doesn't sound awful in theory, but the way that it's turning out is just so, crazy. 13 states had trigger laws, so the second that case was decided, abortion was either heavily restricted or banned entirely in these states. And in the past 10 months or so, we have seen almost half the states in America now have either excessive restrictions or total bans, and the latest of these states is, of course, Florida, which just signed a 6-week abortion ban. So now there's Florida, which was the last state in the southeast to heavily restrict abortion. So before this ruling, before Governor DeSantis signed this into law, a ton of women from Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, they were coming here to get their health care. They were coming here to get their abortions. And now they can't. So it's hard to watch. It's hard to see your country take steps back. But even though this is the case for Florida, there's, like I said, about half the states in our country either do not have severe restrictions or it's actually constitutionally protected in their state's constitution. And I know that that's the case for my home state of New Jersey. So it's nice to see that, but it's also hard to see that there's states doing literally the polar opposite of that. And yeah, you get charged with a crime if you are caught getting an abortion. I know now that there's laws, I think in the state of Wyoming, if I'm correct, where you can get in trouble if you go across state lines and get one in a completely different state. So it's just crazy to watch your country take steps back and ban a form of healthcare for a ton of women in this country. So that was a lot. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about now something else that I learned, which is actually kind of crazy because we talked about it a lot in this class. And that is the Supreme Court cases that were decided and were like Roe v. Wade, Obergefell v. Hodges, Griswold versus Connecticut, which cited the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment as basically that being protected, you know? And now there are justices on the Supreme Court, such as Justice Clarence Thomas, which said that he thinks that any case that cited the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment needs to be looked at again because that is just incorrect. And that's not a justifiable reason for these cases to have been decided the way that they were. So I do not think that this is the last of these cases that we are going to see in our lifetimes. I think that this is only the beginning. I think that our country is going to go through a lot more in terms of rights of women, in terms of same-sex marriage, contraceptives. I just think that this is only the beginning. I think things are only going to go downhill from here even more. And yeah, thanks to the Supreme Court. So that is how I feel. That is some things that I've learned in doing this project. And I hope that I taught you a thing or two as well. Thanks for watching. Bye.